Hello and welcome to another video from the only channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy. And today's video is going to be another one of them wake up calls, and this one's going to be about subsidies. And the only reason I'm doing a video about subsidies is because it appears to me that there ain't nobody alive that knows what subsidies do. Subsidies are what makes this civilization work, period. Without subsidies we could not exist. Now, you may say that in the past we didn't have subsidies and yet we existed. Well, look at some of the things we did have. We had slavery. In the old days, you could take somebody and chain up their hands and chain up their legs and make them do what you wanted. The only problem is you got to have somebody to make those people do what you wanted, and so you had to have some people that were not in chains. And so this nation, when it first started, put everybody who was dark-skinned in chains, and everybody who was light-skinned was not in chains. But the light-skinned people were just as enslaved as the dark-skinned people. Because if a light-skinned man is foreman, he ain't got to compete with another light-skinned man that's foreman and set prices that way. He's got to compete with the man that's working for free. So in fact, he himself is still a slave. But he get to live to be about 65, because when he turned 55, other people might start taking care of him when he got crippled. The dark-skinned people, when they turned 55, were simply starved to death. So there were some differences, but in general, both were slaves. And this system worked to do two things. It got people to go to work every day, and it also got the people that were going to work to hate one another. White people hated the black people because they were destroying their ability to make a living, and the black people hated their white people because they had it so good. Now, today we don't have that same system. No more chains, no more handcuffs, no more shackles, except for in our export business. That's right, all exports in the United States are manufactured in the prison systems. The prison systems are not a way of keeping people in line with generally accepted rules of conduct. The prison system is basically a way that we can manufacture goods with slave labor. That's why people that actually commit crimes like murder and theft never go to jail, but people who grow plants, sell plants, or purchase plants do go to jail. Subsidies. The people that complain about subsidies never complain about the oligarchs that create the subsidies. They complain about people who have a different subsidy than they have. And the people at the top are supposed to believe that they're not living off of subsidies. But I'm going to explain exactly how that works so that you'll understand that everybody lives off of subsidies today. If a man makes minimum wage, you would expect that that man would be a 16-year-old just trying to get enough money together to buy his first junky car. But there are people in this world that make minimum wage from the day that they go into the workforce till the day they die. And you can't just keep people going to work for $7 an hour for their whole life. So what you do is you slowly increase their wages while taking away their subsidies. So that a man who makes minimum wage will take home about, I don't know what it is now, but probably $300 or $200 a week. Because $100 a week is going to go for transportation to get back and forth to work. So basically you're going to take home $200 a week. Now when that man retires, he'll be making the equivalent from Social Security, disability, or whatever of about $200 a week. But since he ain't got to afford transportation to get back and forth to work, it's basically the same as the man that entered the workforce. Incrementally, from the time you enter the workforce till the time you leave, you will still always bring home $200. If a man goes to work and he's bringing home $200 and he's married and he's got a kid, he qualifies for public housing. That means he gets to live somewhere without paying a mortgage. Now, also on top of that, he's going to qualify to go down to the health department or the health medical clinic that's subsidized and get medical treatment that's basically free or at least very cheap. He's going to qualify for food stamps. He's going to qualify for communication subsidies, which means a cheap phone or a free phone. He's going to qualify for energy subsidies, which make his electric bills affordable. And he's going to be able to qualify to go down to one of the U.S. Department of Agriculture's poor person distribution centers. That's where every month you have to go and get a box, and in the box will be like a bag of rice, a bag of beans, a couple of canned goods, maybe a loaf of bread, maybe some chicken leg quarters. Now, the system is set up so that if that man gets a raise, and it ain't going to be much of a raise, but he finally gets a $1 an hour raise, his income is going to go up and he's going to lose one of those subsidies. Now, I can't tell you what, but somehow they've got it set up so that every qualifying dollar knocks something out of your hands. So now he's bringing home $250 a month or a week, but $50 a month of that is going to go towards buying more groceries because he just lost his food box, or he lost part of his food stamps, or he lost his communication subsidy, or he lost his energy subsidy. But all the way up till about $20 an hour, you still never bring home more than about $200 a week. So nothing changes, and some people will spend their whole life trying to get to that $20 an hour mark without ever achieving it. Now, you've also got your Republicrats. These are people that really, really believe in the system, and they drive an SUV and they go everywhere they want. They go golfing, they take vacations, they may have a jet ski. Those people actually get more subsidies than poor people, but don't recognize it. Right now, it takes about $10 a gallon to get gasoline out of the ground and into your car. But when you go to the gas station, it's only $3 a gallon. In this country, fuel subsidies are the biggest subsidy that exists. And the worst thing is, rich people, when they finally get to that point where they can really show off all the junk they got, they go buy a car that gets the worst gas mileage on earth. So you're driving back and forth to work in something that's guzzling down $7 worth of subsidies every 9 miles. That's not all. Since our food is basically made out of petroleum, because there is the tractors that plow the fields, and the tractors that plant the crops, and the tractors that harvest it, and then there's the infrastructure to deliver that food to the grocery stores, which is all petroleum based or fossil fuel based. Food is incredibly subsidized. And it's not just that. The fertilizer is petroleum based. The insecticide and herbicide is petroleum based. And food gets a completely separate subsidy on top of all the petroleum subsidies they just get by default. Since rich people are more wasteful, and don't tell me you're not, because I live by a bunch of rich people. They put the garbage out twice a week. I put my garbage out once a year. I think that's a pretty good indication of who is trying to be sustainable and who is a consumer. Rich people get more subsidies than poor people. I hope this doesn't just make all poor people hate rich people because they're eating up their subsidies, like the rich people now hate the poor people for eating up the subsidies. But the fact is, basically the way subsidies works is it keeps all of us hating one another while giving all of us access to enough resources to get to work and get home. That's all that subsidies are supposed to do. Just like slavery. Nothing's changed. It's just the system that gets us to work is morphing. Eventually, all the smoke and mirrors in the world ain't going to keep this thing alive anymore, and it'll be gone, and I'll be happy. But really, when you say that they should do away with subsidies, come on, give me a break. You don't want to survive, don't listen to me.